Welcome to week 2. You hung in there for week 1. You got through it. You are a rock star. Week 2 has some new stuff in store for you. New exercises, new workout programs for each day, but most of all, still including your mobility day and your free cardio and stretch day. So similar to last week, but different at the same time. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Give it your all, give it your best. Same will still apply if there's anything that's uncomfortable, that hurts, no matter how close you are to the correct form, or modifying as needed. If there's just something that doesn't work for you, you go ahead and take it out. But remember, this is your workout, this is your program, you are in control. You've got this, give it your best. Have a great week. Welcome to day 1, your balance and core workout. With this workout, you have a list of 8 exercises. You're gonna go through the list, of course, omitting anything that you cannot really get through without pain, no matter how you modify. Remember, this is your workout. If there's anything you need to take out, please feel free to do so if it's uncomfortable. Otherwise, I do want you to really challenge yourself. So you're gonna go through that list of exercises, performing each one for 30 seconds. And then take about 10 to 15 seconds rest in between the exercises, and then move on to the next one. After you've gone through that list and you've completed the list, one set, then you'll go through and repeat a second and then a third time. The name of the game here is slow and controlled. You want to take your time, don't rush anything. Really, the slower you go, the more you take your time with these, the more you kick up the work of the core, and that is ultimately what you're after here. So take your time with these. Just remember, any one-sided exercises, when you do 30 seconds on one side, take 30 seconds and do the other. Gotta keep things even. All right, let's go to work. All right, you've got the single limb deadlift reach. In this one, you can choose to work on your balance without any weights to begin with, to really work on the coordination of this exercise, because in and of itself, it is a bit of a challenge. Otherwise, if you feel like you're ready to jump right on in and add very light dumbbells to begin with, feel free to do so. So your option A on this one is with or without the dumbbells. You can feel what works best for you. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna lean forward, hinging, coming from the hip, coming forward, balancing, and you're gonna take your arms out. So you want that back leg to come out behind you as you simultaneously reach forward. When you come back up, you'll balance lightly on the leg that was lifted, and then you're gonna go right back into it. So really engage the core, squeeze at the glutes, tuck your chin in just a slight bit to keep your neck from doing any of this, and you wanna keep those shoulders open. Let's see what this looks like. What you can do also is keep a chair close by or do it near a wall, so that if you feel like you need to reach out for anything to grab onto at any point in time, feel free to do so. I highly do recommend that you do try it without the dumbbells, even if it's just the first couple of reps, to get a feel for where you're at with this exercise. Remember, 30 seconds per side. When you're ready for option B, still with the light dumbbells in your hands, we're gonna take away that supporting limb when you return to standing. Try and see how many you can do in a row without having to put that foot back down to catch your balance. If you do, that's okay, but challenge yourself and see what you can do. I got 3. Definitely a balance challenge on that one. Have fun with it though. Give it a try. All right, so join me on the floor for your boat hold in and out. Then come down onto your mat. And you want to come slightly on an incline on what's called the boat hold. You can keep your heels on the floor while you set up. You want to make sure that your back is fairly straight, nice natural curvature. You're not overly arched or sinking in. You want to maintain a fairly straight natural curve in the back. And then you also want to keep the shoulders open, shoulders down away from your ears as you go through the exercise, or any exercise really. As you start to work harder and feel like your tension increases, sometimes those shoulders tense up. Those upper traps kick in and tighten up in the shoulders. You want to prevent any of that because that can lead to shoulder and neck strain down the road. So staying ahead of that, shoulders down, stay relaxed. Your breathing is deep into your belly, using your diaphragm. So you're gonna lean back into your boat hold. With option A, your hands will be back here to support you. And then keeping your chest up, you're gonna elevate your feet and bring your knees towards you and then straighten them out. You might feel yourself working hard on that one. Legs might quiver a bit. It's okay, stay with it, work hard. But really engage the core, keep your breathing flowing and even, don't hold your breath. With your option B, when you're ready, you're gonna take the support of your hands away and you're gonna work with your legs, looking something like this. Pulling together, opening away. Give that a go. Whatever you do, don't lose that contraction in the core, embracing through the abdominals and the obliques. You want to make sure that as you work, that your back isn't drifting, you're not drifting off, slumping or arching the other way, because as you get tired, it may be harder to control maintaining that neutral spine. So take breaks as you go if you feel like you just need to come out of it for a quick second or two and then go back into it, because most of all, most important is your form. Don't compromise your form. Give that a try. All right, so for this next one, you're gonna do a reverse lunge with a dumbbell chop. So you can take a light dumbbell, you just need one, it's gonna go between both hands. You can also use a medicine ball if you have one. Say you're working out at the gym, for instance. You've got medicine balls available. Go ahead and try it with a light medicine ball. 4 pounds to begin with is a great option. Even a kettlebell, if you were to kind of grip a kettlebell under its handle and hold around the ball part of it. You can also try this with a light kettlebell. So you have a couple options in terms of weight. But most of all, start with a low weight, get comfortable with this exercise, and then build from there. So your option A will be to step back into a lunge. And on that front leg side, you're gonna perform a low to high chop, a full movement through the chop to high, back to low. When you come up high again, you're gonna take your entire body and turn around and face the other direction. And then you'll repeat. So you're gonna be turning back and forth, working both sides. This is what it will look like. Get nice and low, hips towards the floor. So you'll see that you're always coming to the outside of the front knee to start your low to high chop. A couple things to take note of there is that whenever you turn and face the opposite direction, you want to be mindful that your feet and your knees are facing forward. So you don't want to be left in a position where you turn, face the other way, and your knee is left collapsing inward, or your toes are still turned towards another direction inside. You want to make sure that everything comes back center. Shoulders, hips, knees, feet. And that when you're in that lunge, you want to stay low, weight on that back foot just a bit, knee pretty close over the ankle, chest up. What else? Slow and controlled. Remember that as the big point here. Really slow and controlled with it, being very mindful of your movement, paying attention to how you're moving, because that's where you're going to really, really kick up the work in this when you do it nice and controlled. Option B would be to simply increase your weight, flowing through the movement in the same way. Give it a try. All right, again on the floor, we have the plank with dumbbell fly. You'll see from the notes, there are a number of options with this one. We actually have options A through D. So there's a few things you can try here to add on to this exercise. Find what you're most comfortable with and challenge yourself. Don't make it too easy, but you don't want it to be too hard that you can't control the movement. So with this, we're gonna start off with the half plank as our option A. You also want to get a fairly light dumbbell to start with. In your half plank, the other one hand is under your shoulder to support you, in line with your shoulder. And remember, half plank, those knees are not up here, you're not a box. Get those knees from underneath you. You are a plank. Then you're gonna take, and I just wanna say actually real quick here, if you have any issues in the wrist, for me even, actually I have a little bit of a previous hand and wrist injury, very chronic, goes back 10 years. So in spite of working on the mobility of my hand and wrist and everything like that over the years, it's a chronic issue. So sometimes with this hand and any plank formation type of exercises, I may have to actually, instead of putting my palm flat, actually get my fist down so that my wrist is neutral with the exercise. And then on my left side, I have a little bit more liberty to get a more of a palms down positioning. So keep that in mind if you need to modify your hand positioning for any reason, injuries or past, present, whatever, do so. The other thing too is that for the support of the hand that you're not using at the moment, you can even actually grab that second weight and use your hand on that second weight to support you. You just want to make sure, especially if there are any dumbbells that are completely round, that you're able to control and stabilize through that. It doesn't roll away or get away from you. The ones I'm using are like octagons. So there's a little bit more stability with these. So something to keep in mind. Okay, so back in formation. I'm gonna use my fist down, neutral wrist positioning. And on that fly, core tight and keeping my neck, chin slightly pulled back, I'm gonna lift out in a fly. We're keeping this all on one side for this one. So 30 seconds here, then you repeat on the other side. Be sure as you do this, you're not sinking or losing your control and formation. Take quick pauses if you need to, but jump right back in. For your option B, you're going to keep that half plank. But now let's see if you can elevate the opposite leg off the floor, either here, knee bent, or the knee straight, while performing that fly. Definitely kicks up the balance. Give me a nice squeeze between the shoulder blades as you lift that arm out. For your option C, you're gonna be in a full plank position. So, gonna change sides and show you. Nicely supported, pulling the abdominals in. Really working to try and control your weight shift. So when you go to lift the arm that's flying, or doing the dumbbell fly, you're not way over leaning over to one side. Your option D with this will be, again, to keep that full plank, but now, just like we did with the half plank, you've got the opposite leg off the floor. That definitely maximizes the challenge on the core, the balance, all of it. So get there when you feel like you're absolutely ready, but challenge yourself and really take your time with this one. Give it a go. All right, we've got the single leg squat to deadlift reach. It's in some way a little similar to the first exercise we did in that you're gonna be balancing on one foot and reaching forward, taking up the other leg, but there's a little bit of a twist to this one. So you're gonna start with a single leg squat. So you're gonna pick your balancing leg to begin with first. Remember, you're gonna do 30 seconds per side in this circuit. And what you wanna do is sit back, hinging at the hips, weight towards your heels, back straight, chin tucked, shoulders open, 2 checkpoints there. Sit back into your single leg squat, and it could be very mini as long as you can control it. Does not have to be very deep. From the single leg squat, you're gonna come back up now for your option A, and you're going to reach forward, taking that unweighted leg, still on that standing leg, forward, reaching for the floor, come back up, and you can either touch the floor, the non-weighted leg to the floor to recover your balance real quick, or you can go straight back into that single leg squat again, back into the reach. On this leg, when you do that single leg deadlift reach, you want to keep that knee fairly straight, but with a slight bend, just so that that knee is soft, so that you're not blocking that knee out in hyperextension, because that will lead to damage in the knee joint down the road. So to avoid that, to be sure of it, keep just a slight bend in the knee, but you want to be mostly straight. Again, let's go through a few reps of what that looks like. Let's flow. Hips and shoulders square, trying not to twist. You don't want to twist in the hips. And take note of my pace. It's a great pace. If you're going a lot faster than that, you're definitely going too fast. It's not a matter of, oh, I can balance so I can go really fast with this. It's a matter of the slower you go, the harder you work. That's where you want this to be. Now for your option B, you switch legs, so I'm working evenly here. You start off the same in your single leg squat to your forward reach, but then now you're gonna swing that unweighted leg through, like you're doing a little bit of a foot tap. So you're coming through, and then you return to standing. Single leg squat, forward reach, swing through for opposite toe reach. Let's try a few and see how that flows. Okay, so that's how that looks. Now, if you can't get all the way to your toe, hand to toe, that's okay. Sometimes when my hamstrings are a little tight on some days than others, it may be that you can reach for your shin or your ankle, even your knee. You just want to get that flow. You want to be as balanced as possible, really thinking of centering through the core, and then control ultimately. So reach wherever you can, but ultimately, as you progress, as you do more of these, as those hamstrings lengthen, if you're pretty tight in your hamstrings, that reach will improve. Whatever you do though, don't strain and lurch from the back. You want to keep yourself pretty upright when you reach and pull through. So just reach and touch wherever you can, even if it's your shin. Give that a try. All right, so we've got another plank coming out of this one, your plank to down dog toe tap. You're gonna start off in a full plank position. That's easiest with this one. We're just gonna come from a full plank, nice and straight, arms out underneath your shoulders, coming up to a downward dog. As you take one hand to reach for your opposite foot, you come back to the plank, come back up to that downward dog, and then you reach opposite hand to foot. And you're gonna alternate sides as you go for those 30 seconds. So here, let's start that off as your option A. Keeping your core braced throughout, and just making sure every time you come back into that plank that you're nice and straight, bracing in here, neck is long, shoulders are down away from your ears. Next, for your option B, you have a couple options here, even a way to make it a B and C option, in that you're going to add a push-up between your toe taps, and you can either come down to your knees to do that push-up in a half plank, or you can stay in that full plank position to do your push-up from full plank. So you can start with the half plank if you've been doing your push-ups in half plank thus far. If you want to take it a little further, then you can stay in that full plank position. So I'll review both for you. Take your half plank, for your push-up, pop back up, reach, that's what your half plank option would look like. Maintaining the full plank, it would look something like this. So, slight difference there, but all the same overall. And you want to make sure that as you do your push-ups, that you keep those arms tucked in nice and close to your side, hands under your shoulders, that your arms aren't all the way up here, that you keep the neck long, shoulders away from the ears, and you keep that chin slightly tucked back. Give that a go. Coming down all the way to your mat for leg circles. You're gonna have your head elevated for this one with hands lightly supporting behind your head, elbows not folding over your face, but keep them open. And be sure not to crank on your neck with your hands. They're just there for support. You're gonna start with both legs out towards the ceiling. If you're a bit tight in the hamstrings, you might find it's hard to get those knees really straight. That's okay, work towards it. You don't wanna force it and put any undue strain or pull on anything. So allow yourself to get there.
but you want to get as close to being at a 90-degree angle between the legs and the body. Now here the key is to keep one leg straight up towards the ceiling while the other leg circles around. What you want to do is keep your eyes on that leg that's going to remain straight, because if your circles are too big or you're not controlling it enough through here, that leg is going to compensate and shift or drift away from being straight up. So you want to try and keep that leg straight. That's your focus while the other leg circles. So drawing the belly button towards the floor, pulling inward on the abdominal core, bracing through here on the abdominal wall, pulling up also on the pelvic floor muscles. You're going to circle one leg down and around, and then switch sides. With that leg that remains straight again, and working to try and keep it towards the ceiling. If you find that it drifts too much, make those circles smaller. For your option B, keep those legs together, squeeze the inner thigh, and you're gonna circle both legs together one way. You're gonna do that for half the allotted time, and then when you get to the halfway point, circle the other direction. Coming back up to that 90-degree bend in the hips each time. Remember, the key here is to remain controlled in the core, keep that spine neutral. If you find that your back starts to arch away from the mat or the floor, that you start to lift off, then you need to bring your circles back a little smaller in order to control and maintain the neutral spine. Slow and controlled here, not rapid, big motions. It's all about keeping the control, keeping it slow, allowing the core to really, really work through it. Give that a try.
All right, so here we have the side lunge with the slow dumbbell swing. You'll also see in the notes that your options are here too, to use a kettlebell if you have one, or if you're at the gym and there's kettlebells available. You want to start with a low to moderate, fairly lightweight with this one, till you really build up the control. The emphasis here is, yes, to get the strengthening component, but ultimately to the balance in order to kick up the core work. So keep it fairly light so that you can control it. With this one, for your option A, you're going to step out to the side into your side lunge. Stay nice and low, keeping the weight mostly through the heel of that weighted bent leg. You're gonna hold it there, and then you're gonna perform a swing, whether with the dumbbell or the kettlebell, forward, keeping the chest open and the shoulders square, and then lower back down in a nice controlled manner. Then return to standing. With your option A, just as we've done in some of the previous exercises, you can put your the leg that you've now unweighted on the floor lightly to recover your balance before returning to performing it again on the same side. So with this one, we're going to keep it to one side for the first 30 seconds, and then repeat the other 30 seconds to the other side. Let's see what that looks like, how that flows, and then we'll talk about your option B. So keeping the weight in both hands, coming into a side lunge, keep that foot grounded, slightly pushing into the floor, weight in your heel of your bent leg, chest up, back straight, shoulders square, elevate, lower, return to stand. Remember, you can put that foot down for light balance. Let's see a few more. Caught myself on that last one. The previous one, I brought the weight up a little too high. Ideally, you want to bring it up to shoulder height. So there's how to correct that. Okay, great exercise there. For your option B, now you're gonna wanna try and come up to balance on that one leg, elevating the opposite or the unweighted leg off the floor, and that's where you're gonna really strike up a little more work with the balance component. Let's see how that flows. Let's do the other side. Here, what I want to do is just show you a little bit from the side, regardless of option A or B, just so that you can be sure of your checkpoints with a side view, what your back and everything else should look like from the side. So you want to think about hinging in the hips like you're taking your bottom towards that wall behind you and keeping a straight but natural curvature in your low back. All right, so give that a try.